The Philippines has all the natural gifts for cacao production: good climate, favorable soil, and strategic location. For all its potentials to be a major player in the multi-billion-dollar cocoa chocolate industry, however, the country is still pulling itself up from the great impact of pest infestation that almost wiped the local cacao industry back in the 90s. Data from the Department of Science and Technology show a continuing decline in the volume of cacao production in the country in the past 3 decades, except for a short uptick from 2017 to 2019. To help boost the sector, a team of researchers from Salle University embarked on a DOST-funded research to combat one of the major insect pests in the country and in other parts of Southeast Asia, the cacao mirid bug. Dr. Jose Isagani Janairo, full professor at the DLSU Department of Biology and the country's project lead, shares that their team seeks to integrate machine learning in the discovery of semiochemicals of the cacao mirid bug.
It's an emerging pest with very little information about it. So it usually thrives in Southeast Asia. It has a very long proboscis. It punctures the cacao pods, so that's a gateway for other pathogens to enter the cacao pod, and this leads to accelerated pod rotting. Essentially, once the cacao mirid bug has fed on the cacao pods, these pods will be useless. Semiochemicals are compounds released by plants and insects that they use to communicate with their surroundings. So for example, when a plant releases a compound, that compound can be perceived by an insect, and that insect will follow that trail of compounds toward that plant, and then that insect can feed on the plant. Different kinds of compounds are released depending on the situation. So for example, insects, when it's time to mate, usually the female releases a sex pheromone. And that sex pheromone is detected by the male, and that is the signal of the male insect to approach the female and reproduce. So all of these compounds are called semiochemicals.
For their predictive model, the research team is building a dataset of candidate compounds, from which they will identify the specific compound that will elicit a physiological response to the pest.
The gas chromatograph here separates the components of the mixture. So kung galing siya sa insekto or sa halaman, so it separates the components and then it goes to the mass spec here, which fragments or sinisira niya yung compounds. And based on that fragmentation pattern na mabubuo, we can putatively identify kung ano yung compounds na nasa mixture. So based on that, we can identify kung alin talaga yung compounds na magagamit natin sa field for control ng mga insect pests.
So once we identify a compound in which the cacao mirid bug is attracted to, we can put it on a trap. The trap will now release that signal, and the cacao mirid bug will follow that signal. But instead of finding cacao, it will find a trap. So it will get trapped inside, and hopefully that can lead to sustainable pest management for the cacao mirid bug. These signals are very specific. The cacao mirid bug will be the only insect that will respond to that signal. So no other insects or animals or plants will be harmed or will be targeted by that compound.
Since 2016, Janairo and his research group at the Institute of Biological Control at the DLSU Laguna campus have been involved in the development of sustainable approaches to cacao pest management.
It's important for us to understand the biology and the chemical ecology of this insect pest so that we are prepared. So once this pest becomes a full-blown problem, we already have pest management approaches in place that will prepare us to deal with it.